Hi guys, you're joining me today on a video tutorial on how to make a pair of pants, trousers, whatever you want to call them. Now, I've got an Anastasia concert coming up at the end of the year, so I've actually ordered this fabric to make a pair of pants to actually go to that concert. Now, initially I was going to put a waistband and a zip in the back of these, but the fabric is a lot thinner than what I thought it was going to be. So this is the fabric in question. So it's got stretch to it, and it's like a snake skin, and it's in silver and black, but it is semi-sheer. So I'm just going to make them like a pair of elasticated pants, but I am going to put a couple of, I don't know how many yet, but I'm going to put some belt loops on, and I'm going to make a tassel belt out of this, and I'm going to put splits in the ankles to make them a bit funky. Because I love Anastasia's style, I love the clothes that she wears, and then I will have to try and get or make like a floaty top to go with these. But today I'm just going to be doing the pants. Now the pattern I'm going to be using, it's literally, I've took it straight off a pair of pyjama bottoms where I've took a pattern off the front leg and a pattern off the back leg. So let's get to the table and get the pattern cut out. So I've got the pattern laid on. And I've allowed a bit extra here because on the outside seam, because I'm going to be having a split, that's going to have to be turned under. So I've allowed a little bit extra there. So I'm going to crack on getting it cut out. So I'm just going to flip this over so I've got the following, the opposite side. So what I'm going to be doing now, I'm going to cut the belt out, but I've just done on a small piece of scrap here to show you how I'm going to have the end of the belt. Can you see how I've just made that like it is? And what I'm going to do is, obviously, I might have them longer than that, but I want my belt to be really long so it goes down 3/4 of my length, and then I've got this tassel at the bottom of the belt because I think that's going to look pretty cool. Okay, so what I'm going to do now then, I'm going to come down the side of the fabric and basically just cut. I'm going to cut this selvage off all the way down first. Right, so I'm going to put this round me and just see how long that's going to be. Right, so I can afford to take a little bit off that, so let me just take. Yeah, perfect. So I'm just going to run this down where I've just cut and snip it so I know how long I want it to be. That's where I want it to be. Now, how wide? I'm thinking if I go there. Yeah, so that's actually going to be, let me just measure it for you so you know. That's going to be cut at 5 inches. And then obviously these will be the tassel bits that I cut into strips. So let me just get that, and we're going to just cut this down. I'm just putting the 5-inch mark to the edge, and then I'm just cutting it along. Right, so I'm going to mark where the tassel is. I'm going to cut. I'm gonna make a long tassel, so I think I'm gonna go for, let that soap, 10-inch I think. So let me just do that. I'm going to cut all those lines to give me my tassels. So that will be the end of the belt at that side. So I'm going to come to this side, and the great thing about fabric like this is it doesn't fray. Right, let's just get this marked up. Okay, let's get this cut. Okay, so that's the other tassels there. So I'm going to get the belt made up first so I can forget about it. Right, so let me just get this. I need to get this so that it's just laying flat, and then I'm just going to run down the edges of it, but I just need to make sure that it is laying all flat. Get that, like so. And then where the top of the tassel comes, that's where I'm going to start stitching it from. And the edge of the fabric here, I'm just going to run on the inside of the foot here, and that's my guideline. Right, so I'm just going to start pulling that belt through. So that just wants pressing all the way down. So what I'm just going to do, I'm just going to stitch the end where the tassel is on both sides. Just want to make sure that that's where the seam is. And I'm just going to come across and get that stitched. Right, so I'm going to go and press this first of all. Okay guys, let's get these legs stitched together. Oh, let's get these legs overlocked. Now that's just a piece that I was testing on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to overlock down the outside of the legs first. Okay guys, one leg down, 3 to go. I'm going to do those off camera. Right, so that's all the 4 outside of the legs overlocks. So what I'm going to do now is on the front and back crutch seams going up to the waist, that is what I'm going to be overlocking together. Right, so that's the crutches. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to overlock the front and the backs together on the inner leg. And I'm going to start at the hem at the bottom of the leg. Okay, let's get this put together. Right, so I'm going to stitch the bottom hem at this point. Now at this point as well, I'm going to overlock across the top of the waistband. Okay, so I'm going to take this to the table and then I'm going to work out how long I want the splits to be at the bottom on the outside. So I've got the trousers laid on here and I've got the side seams put together. And then I'm going to, what I've just worked out rough and ready is, I think I'm going to have the split about 9 inches deep. But I need to clip it at 10.5 because I may end up doing the hem to 1.5 inches. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to mark it to 10.5 from the bottom, and I'm going to put a clip because obviously that's where I want it to start from. I'm going to go to the opposite side and I'm going to clip that at 10.5 as well. Make sure I've got them together. Just make sure I've got those two the same. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Duke and we're going to stitch the outside leg up. Okay guys, so that's both the legs sewed up on both sides now, so I'm simply going to go and try them on, and depending how they fit, whether I come on and show you if out needs altering or we just look at getting the hem done and then the waistband or belt loops, the job's done. So what I'm going to do now then, where the openings are on the bottom of the trouser, I'm just going to clip these over. Okay, let's go and get these stitched down in place. Okay, so what I've decided to do, I'm going to stitch the hem by hand. So I'm going to do a blind hem, and then it'll look much neater on the front. So I'm going to do an 1.5" hem. Let me just get that. Any overlocking, I'm going to make sure that that's inside the hem. Now looking, I'm just going to show you here where, obviously, you know, the side split is. So that's the reason why on the outer side I overlocked it and then stitched it on the juke, because it makes it much neater, you know, when you're doing your turning that over, and especially at the top there, so you've got it nice, smooth and flat. I need more light on so I can see. Okay, so let me get one of these. And I'm going to stitch the top down first, tucking all that overlocking in. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to come from underneath, bringing that up so that the knot on the cotton ends up being inside the hem. I've got a knot in that. There we go. Okay. So I'm just picking the odd thread up. So I'm picking just the tiniest of thread up on the inside and then going through the turnover. And and then you're not, by doing this, you're not going to see any stitching on the right side of the fabric. Right, so I'm going to carry on doing this. I'm just going to show you there that you can't actually see any of the stitching through, and that is how it looks on the inside. So I'm just going to carry on doing the two, finishing the two M's off on off camera. So the next part is putting the elastic on the waist. So I'm going to overlap that by a good inch, and then I'm going to pin that right up the centre. I'm then going to find out where the other half is, which is here, and I'm going to put a pin there. Not that one, because it's a bit blunt. And I'm going to get my trousers. So let me get the back. So where the join is, this bit where I've overlapped it, I'm going to put that to the back, and I'm simply going to put the edge of the elastic to the edge of the fabric, and then I'm going to pin that in place. I'm going to get the other pin and take it to the opposite side and pin that in place. And get the pin out. There you go. Get in. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be making sure that the edge of the elastic is coming just to the edge of where that is overlocked, like so, and then that will be turned over like that. Okay. Right, so I'm only going to put those two pins in and then stitch it as I go. So let's go back to the chook. Right, so I'm going to put the overlock in and the elastic together, edge to edge. So I'm going to get this off, I'm going to pull it so it's in half and hold it halfway so that the elastic's the same amount as it goes around, so that it's spread evenly. And I'm aiming to stitch in the centre of the overlock stitch. And I'm going to stitch in the ditch. And stitching in the ditch is where you've got a seam and you're actually stitching in the seam, so you don't see the stitching on the right side. I'm going to do this on all 4 seams. Right, so I'm going to go ahead now and I'm going to make the belt loops. So I'm going to make 3 belt loops to hold the belt in. Put it back in there, but I am going to make some belt loops now, and I don't want them to be big chunky ones, I just want them to be small. So let me just look at, just seeing how big that belt loop is. 3 inch. So let me just put that across there. I'm gonna cut it to 4" because, like I said, it doesn't fray this, so I'm just going to actually 4". Okay, and then let me just, because again I don't want them to be thick ones, I want them to be thin ones. So if I do that and then allow that to okay. Let's go and get these made up then, these little fellas. So I'm simply going to fold the fabric to the centre on both sides, and then I'm going to fold it in half again. Back tack. Centre to the centre, and then fold it in half again, so you're sandwiching it, if you like, together. Fold it over like so. Just make sure that take it a little bit further than that, because, and I'm going to put that just over the seam. I'm just going to run over it about 5 times. So let me come and just turn that over. Let's get the side ones on. So that's what I mean by opening the inside seam there to make sure that I've not stitched it over. And on the hem, what I did is where I hand stitched it, because this was going to be open, I've literally gone down where the stitching is on the side opening, I've literally re-stitched over that, so that is stitched in inside there. Right, so I'm going to go and press these, try them on, and we'll take a look at them. So that's the finished look, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this little remake. I'm going to obviously enjoy them, but I wish the fabric would have been a bit heavier, but it is what it is. So thanks for joining me, guys. Take care for now and see you soon. Bye for now.